Have you ever wondered what makes someone truly unforgettable? Not in a fleeting, superficial way, but so profoundly that your absence creates a void they cannot ignore. Many of us have found ourselves yearning for that kind of presence in someone else's life. Whether it's rekindling a lost spark, deepening a connection, or simply leaving a lasting impression, the desire to be missed runs deep. Yet, the way to achieve it is not what most people think. Stoicism teaches us that the path to being irreplaceable is not about chasing attention or playing games. It's about transforming ourselves into a person of such strength, purpose, and virtue that others naturally crave our presence and profoundly feel our absence. Imagine living a life where people are drawn to you not because of what you do for them, but because of who you are. What if the key isn't in pursuing others, but in cultivating yourself? This video will guide you through 10 powerful Stoic habits that can reshape the way you carry yourself in relationships and life. These principles are not tricks or gimmicks. They're rooted in the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, teaching us to focus on what we can control: our emotions, our actions, and our values. When you live by these habits, you won't just make people miss you, you'll inspire them to admire and respect you on a deeper level. Stay with us until the end, because the final habit holds a profound truth that can completely change the way you see relationships. Let's begin. 1. Master emotional control. What happens when someone you care about disappoints you, angers you, or pushes you away? Do you lash out, letting your emotions spill over? Or do you stay calm, composed, and in control? The way you handle your emotions defines not just how others see you, but also how they feel about you when you're not around. If you react impulsively, letting anger or frustration take the wheel, you may leave a temporary mark, but it's not one people miss. Instead, they remember the chaos, the drama, and feel relief when it's gone. Stoicism teaches us that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Imagine being the person who, even in moments of tension, radiates calm and strength. That composure creates a lasting impression. People are drawn to it because it's rare. They find themselves reflecting on your calmness long after you've left the room, wondering how you stayed so centered when they could not. Think about the people who have left a mark on you. Chances are, they weren't the ones who exploded in anger or panicked under pressure. They were the ones who, no matter the circumstances, remained steady and thoughtful. That's the power of emotional control. It's not just a sign of inner strength. It's a quality that people admire, respect, and miss when it's absent. But how do you master emotional control? Start by pausing. When you feel an emotional surge, whether it's anger, sadness, or frustration, take a moment to breathe. Ask yourself, is this reaction aligned with the person I want to be? By creating that pause, you give yourself the power to choose your response instead of letting your emotions dictate your actions. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When you understand that your reactions are within your control, you unlock a kind of freedom that others cannot help but notice. This freedom from emotional volatility is magnetic. People feel safe around you. They trust you. And when you're not there, they miss the sense of peace and stability you bring into their lives. However, this isn't about suppressing your emotions. Stoicism is not about pretending you don't feel anger, sadness, or pain. It's about learning to channel those emotions in a way that reflects your highest self. When you respond thoughtfully, even in the face of conflict, you elevate the conversation. You show maturity, depth, and strength, qualities that linger in people's minds long after you've walked away. Think of it this way. Emotional control is like a superpower in relationships. When others expect an outburst and instead seek calmness, they're left intrigued. When they expect you to crumble under pressure and instead see strength, they're inspired. This creates a sense of mystery and admiration that's hard to shake. They start to replay the interaction in their minds, trying to understand how you managed to stay so composed. And that's when they begin to miss you. Ask yourself, how do I want to be remembered after every interaction? Do you want to be the person who lost their temper or the one who stayed grounded? The person who overreacted or the one who handled things with grace? Every moment is an opportunity to leave an impression. And emotional control ensures that impression is one of strength and maturity. When you master emotional control, you not only transform the way others see you, but also the way you see yourself. You become someone who is unshaken by external events, grounded in your values, and confident in your responses. This inner strength radiates outward, drawing others to you and making your absence deeply felt. So what's your next step? Begin by practicing awareness. Reflect on your recent interactions. Were there moments when your emotions got the better of you? What could you have done differently? Use those moments as learning opportunities. Over time, you'll find that your emotional reactions become less impulsive and more intentional. Mastering emotional control isn't easy. It takes practice and self-discipline. But as you grow in this habit, you'll notice a shift. People will start to see you as a source of stability and strength. They'll admire your calmness, respect your composure, and, most importantly, miss you when you're not there. If this resonates with you, stay tuned. In the next section, we'll explore a habit that's just as powerful and perhaps even more intriguing: the art of embracing absence. How can creating space make someone long for your presence? Let's find out. 2. Embrace the power of absence. Have you ever considered how your constant presence might impact the way people perceive your value? When you're always available, always within reach, it's easy for others to take you for granted. But what happens when you're not there? How does your absence shift the dynamic? There's a timeless saying by François de la Rochefoucauld: "Absence diminishes mediocre passions and increases great ones, as the wind blows out candles and fans fires." This insight speaks to a truth about human nature. Absence creates longing. When you're not constantly filling the space, people are left to reflect on what your presence truly means to them. Stoicism teaches us to focus not on forcing others to feel something, but on creating the conditions where our worth can be genuinely recognized. By stepping back intentionally, you allow others to see the gap you leave behind. This isn't about manipulation. It's about respecting yourself enough to create boundaries and space for your presence to be missed. But how does this work in practice? First, it's important to understand the difference between absence and avoidance. Creating space doesn't mean ghosting someone or cutting off contact entirely. Instead, it's about maintaining healthy boundaries that encourage mutual respect. It's the subtle art of letting others take the initiative, giving them room to miss you. Think about your relationships, romantic, platonic, or professional. Are you always the one reaching out? Always the one making plans or offering solutions? If so, you may be unintentionally depriving others of the opportunity to realize your importance. By stepping back, you allow them to experience life without your constant input, which can often highlight just how much value you bring. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." In moments of absence, the quality of someone's thoughts about you determines whether they miss you. Are you the person who brought peace, inspiration, or a sense of connection? Or were you so ever-present that they never had the chance to reflect on your impact? Absence gives them the space to think deeply about these things. Imagine this scenario. You've been constantly texting someone, checking in, or trying to plan time together. They've grown used to this pattern. Now, imagine you take a step back, not out of frustration, but as an intentional shift. You stop texting first, stop planning everything, and focus instead on living your own life. What happens? At first, they may not notice, but over time, the absence of your consistent attention becomes undeniable. They begin to wonder, why haven't they reached out? What are they up to? This curiosity leads to reflection, and reflection leads to longing. However, the power of absence doesn't stop at relationships. It applies to all areas of life. Consider how scarcity increases value. A rare gem is cherished not just for its beauty, but for its rarity. Similarly, when your time and presence are not endlessly available, they become more precious. You show others that your time is valuable, and in doing so, you invite them to value it as well. One key way to embrace absence is by prioritizing your own growth and fulfillment. When you're busy living your best life, pursuing hobbies, passions, and goals, you naturally create space between you and others. This space isn't artificial, it's the result of your focus on what matters most to you. And that's incredibly attractive. People begin to notice that your life is full, vibrant and purposeful, and they find themselves drawn to the energy that radiates from you. Ask yourself, am I creating enough space in my relationships for others to truly miss me? Or am I unintentionally crowding out their ability to appreciate my presence? Reflect on where you might pull back, not as a punishment, but as an act of self-respect and intentionality. But remember, this isn't about playing hard to get or manipulating someone into missing you. It's about living with purpose and allowing the natural dynamics of relationships to unfold. When you're absent, it gives others the chance to reflect on what you bring into their lives, your wisdom, your calmness, your unique presence. And when they realize how much they miss those things, it deepens the connection. So what's your next step? Start small. If you're always the one initiating, take a step back and let others reach out. If you're constantly available, set boundaries for your time. Most importantly, focus on living a life that's rich and fulfilling, so that when others think of you, they think of someone worth missing. Let's take a moment to reflect together. What areas of your life could benefit from the power of absence? How might stepping back create space for deeper connections? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Share your reflections in the comments below. And if this resonates with you, show your support by liking this video and sharing your insights. Your engagement helps grow our community of thoughtful, purpose-driven individuals. And don't forget to subscribe for more insights into Stoicism and personal growth. Thank you for being here, and stay tuned. Next, we'll explore how living a life of purpose can make you unforgettable. 3. Pursue a life full of purpose. What gives your life meaning? When you wake up in the morning, are you driven by a sense of purpose, or do you find yourself drifting from one task to another without direction? This question isn't just philosophical, it's at the heart of what makes someone miss you deeply. Living with purpose doesn't just make you magnetic, it makes your absence profoundly felt. Imagine meeting someone whose passion and goals light up every room they enter. Their energy is infectious, their conversations inspiring. When they leave, you don't just miss their presence, you miss the drive and positivity they brought into your life. This is what living a purposeful life creates. A lasting impression that lingers long after you're gone. Stoicism teaches us that our sense of worth should not depend on external factors, but on how aligned we are with our values and goals. As Seneca said, our plans miscarry because they have no aim. When a man does not know what harbor he is making for, no wind is the right wind. When you lack purpose, your actions feel scattered and insignificant. But when you live with clarity and intention, you create an energy that others are naturally drawn to. Purpose doesn't have to be something grand. It can be as simple as committing to personal growth, nurturing relationships, or pursuing a passion that excites you. The key is intentionality, waking up each day with a reason to move forward. When you live this way, your presence becomes a source of inspiration for others. They begin to admire your drive and miss the energy you bring to their lives. Think about it. When was the last time you were around someone who spoke passionately about their goals? Did it stir something in you? That kind of enthusiasm is rare, and it leaves a mark. On the other hand, someone who lacks direction or purpose tends to fade into the background. Their absence isn't felt because their presence didn't bring anything unique or meaningful. Living with purpose also cultivates independence, which is incredibly attractive. When you're focused on your own growth and fulfillment, you show others that your happiness doesn't rely on their presence. This self-sufficiency is not only admirable but also creates a sense of intrigue. People begin to wonder what you're working toward, what drives you, and how they can be part of your journey. But how do you start living a life of purpose? Begin by asking yourself, what matters most to me? What do I want to contribute to the world? Reflect on your passions and values, and align your actions with them. It could be pursuing a career goal, dedicating time to a hobby, or simply being intentional about your personal growth. The specifics don't matter as much as the commitment to living with direction. When you live with purpose, your absence becomes noticeable because it leaves a void. The people around you miss not just your presence but the inspiration, energy, and passion you bring. They long for the sense of meaning and excitement that you radiate, making your presence unforgettable. 4. Be fully present in every moment. When was the last time you gave someone your undivided attention? Not half-heartedly listening while checking your phone or thinking about what you'll say next, but truly being present. In today's world of constant distractions, being fully engaged in a moment is a rare and powerful habit. It's also one of the most effective ways to make someone miss you. When you're fully present, you make people feel seen and valued in a way that leaves a lasting impression. Think about it. How often do we encounter someone who truly listens, who makes us feel like we're the only person in the room? When you offer this level of attention, it creates a sense of connection that others will crave when you're gone. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of living in the present moment. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Do every act of your life as if it were your last." This isn't just about living with urgency, it's about fully immersing yourself in the here and now. When you're present in your relationships, you create moments of genuine connection that linger in the minds of others. Being present means putting aside distractions and focusing entirely on the person in front of you. It's about maintaining eye contact, listening without interrupting, and responding thoughtfully. When you do this, you show others that they matter to you, that their words and presence have your full attention. This level of engagement is rare, and it's precisely why it leaves such a strong impression. Consider this. Most people are so caught up in their own thoughts and devices that they rarely offer their full attention to others. When you're the exception to this, you immediately stand out. People will associate you with feelings of importance and connection, and when you're not around, they'll miss the depth of those interactions. This habit isn't just powerful in romantic relationships, it applies to friendships, family, and even professional settings. When you're fully present, you build trust and respect. You become someone people feel safe confiding in, someone they look forward to spending time with. And when you're gone, the absence of that genuine connection is keenly felt. But being present isn't easy. It requires discipline and intentionality. Start by noticing when your mind begins to wander during conversations. Are you thinking about your to-do list? Checking your phone? Practice redirecting your focus back to the person in front of you. Ask yourself, am I truly listening or am I just waiting for my turn to speak? Another way to cultivate presence is by practicing gratitude for the moment. Remind yourself that this interaction, this time with another person, is unique and fleeting. By valuing the moment, you naturally become more engaged in it. This doesn't just enhance your relationships, it enriches your own experience of life. When you master the art of being fully present, you create memories that stick with people long after you're gone. They'll replay conversations in their minds, remembering how you made them feel heard and valued. They'll miss the way you brought depth and sincerity to every interaction, making your presence not just enjoyable but unforgettable. As we move forward, consider how these habits are building a foundation for relationships that are grounded in respect, admiration, and purpose. Next, we'll explore how silence, when used thoughtfully, can be a powerful tool for creating intrigue and leaving a lasting impression. 5. Utilize the power of silence. When was the last time you allowed silence to do the talking? In a world where noise fills every moment, silence has become a rare and undervalued tool. Yet when used intentionally, it can create a sense of mystery and intrigue that words never could. Silence, when mastered, is one of the most powerful Stoic habits for making others reflect on your presence and miss you when you're not there. Most people are uncomfortable with silence. They rush to fill gaps in conversation, over-explain, or react impulsively in moments of tension. But have you ever noticed that the people who seem calm and unbothered, who choose their words carefully and leave room for reflection, are often the ones you think about the most? That's the power of silence. It forces others to pause, to wonder, to fill the void with their own thoughts. And often, those thoughts are about you. Stoicism values the deliberate use of silence as a tool for self-control and reflection. Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." Silence isn't just about refraining from speaking. It's about creating space for others to reflect on what you bring into their lives. It's a reminder that your presence is not something to be taken for granted. Imagine you're in an argument or a moment of tension with someone. Most people would immediately defend themselves, explain their perspective, or react emotionally. Now imagine you pause instead. You don't rush to fill the air with words. You take a breath, remain composed, and choose your response carefully, or even decide not to respond at all. That moment of silence becomes powerful. It leaves the other person wondering, what are they thinking? Why didn't they react? Your silence makes them reflect on their own behavior, on the situation, and most importantly, on you. But silence isn't just for moments of conflict. It's a tool that can make everyday interactions more meaningful. When you're having a conversation, try listening more than you speak. Truly absorb what the other person is saying before responding. This creates a dynamic where your words carry more weight because they're not used carelessly. People begin to associate you with thoughtfulness and depth, qualities that stick with them long after the conversation ends. Silence can also create a sense of mystery. When you don't always reveal everything about yourself, when you hold back just enough to keep others curious, you leave a lasting impression. People will find themselves thinking about you, wondering what's on your mind, and replaying interactions to uncover deeper meaning. This intrigue is a powerful force that makes your presence unforgettable and your absence deeply felt. However, utilizing silence effectively requires balance. It's not about shutting people out or withholding communication entirely. Instead, it's about knowing when to speak and when to remain quiet. It's about recognizing that sometimes the most impactful thing you can say is nothing at all. Marcus Aurelius understood the value of measured speech and reflective silence. He wrote, "You must bear in mind continually that all this has happened before and will happen again, the same plot from beginning to end, the identical staging." Silence gives you the space to step back, observe, and approach situations with calmness and clarity. It signals strength, patience, and self-control, qualities that others admire and miss when they're absent. To cultivate the habit of using silence, start by practicing mindfulness in conversations. Ask yourself, am I speaking because I have something meaningful to say, or am I speaking to fill the space? When you feel the urge to react impulsively, pause. Give yourself the gift of time to reflect and respond intentionally. This simple practice not only enhances your relationships, but also strengthens your own sense of inner peace. Think about the people you value most in your life. Are they the ones who dominate conversations, or the ones who listen deeply, respond thoughtfully, and leave you feeling heard? Silence allows you to become that person, the one others admire for their composure and wisdom. And when you're not around, it's the depth of your presence, the weight of your words, and the calmness of your silence that they'll miss. Now, let's reflect together. How can you use silence more intentionally in your relationships? Have there been moments where speaking less might have made a greater impact? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear how you plan to embrace this powerful habit. If you're finding value in these Stoic insights, take a moment to like this video and join the conversation. Every like and comment helps spread the timeless wisdom of Stoicism to more people, building a community of thoughtful, intentional individuals. And if you haven't already, subscribe for more strategies to elevate your life and relationships. Thank you for being part of this journey. Next, we'll explore how showcasing your independence can transform how others see you and make them miss you even more. Stay tuned. 6. Showcase your independence. How do you carry yourself when you're alone? Are you at ease, fulfilled by your own pursuits, or do you find yourself needing the constant presence of others to feel whole? Independence isn't just about standing on your own, it's about thriving in your solitude. And when others see you flourishing without relying on them, it sparks a deep admiration and inevitably longing for your presence. Stoicism teaches us that true freedom comes from within. As Seneca observed, "He who is brave is free." When you cultivate inner strength and self-sufficiency, you show the world that your happiness is not dependent on anyone else. This autonomy is magnetic because it reflects confidence and self-worth, two qualities people naturally gravitate toward. Think about someone you admire. Chances are they have a life that's rich and full, independent of anyone else. Perhaps they're passionate about their work, deeply committed to personal growth, or endlessly curious about the world. Their independence doesn't diminish their relationships, it enhances them. Why? Because they invite others into their life as equals, not as crutches. The same principle applies to you. When you focus on building a life filled with purpose, hobbies, and goals, you create a dynamic where others want to be part of your world, not because you need them, but because your life is inspiring. Independence signals strength. It tells others, I am whole on my own, but I value what you bring to my life. But independence isn't about shutting people out or pretending you don't care. It's about creating balance. It's about showing that while you cherish your relationships, your sense of self is not tied to them. When you demonstrate this, you create space for people to appreciate your presence rather than taking it for granted. How do you cultivate this kind of independence? Start by investing in yourself. Pursue your passions unapologetically. Develop your skills, set meaningful goals, and prioritize your own growth. When you're deeply engaged in your own life, you naturally create an air of self-sufficiency that others can't help but admire. Independence also means setting boundaries. It's about knowing when to say no and protecting your time and energy. By doing so, you show that you respect yourself and others will follow suit. People are drawn to those who respect their own worth because it signals that you won't settle for less than you deserve. When you live this way, your absence becomes more profound. People start to realize that your presence is a privilege, not a given. They miss the way your independence challenges and inspires them. They long for the strength and confidence you exude, wishing to be part of the world you've built. Take a moment to reflect. Are you living a life that's rich and fulfilling on your own terms? If not, what steps can you take to create more independence in your daily routine? Remember, independence isn't about isolating yourself. It's about building a strong foundation that makes your presence more meaningful when you share it with others. 7. Offer support, then step back. When someone you care about is struggling, what's your instinct? Do you rush to fix the problem, to be present at every moment, ensuring they know they're not alone? Offering support is a natural and noble act. But there's an art to it, a balance between being there for someone and giving them the space to stand on their own. This balance is what makes your support meaningful and your absence felt. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, and the truth is, you cannot solve every problem for someone else. As much as you may want to, you cannot carry their burdens entirely. What you can do is offer your strength, your wisdom, and your presence when they need it most. But then step back. Let them find their footing. Let them process their emotions and discover their own strength. Why is this balance so powerful? Because it shows respect. When you support someone without smothering them, you signal that you trust their ability to handle life's challenges. This builds a deeper connection, one based on mutual respect rather than dependency. And when you step back after offering support, you create space for them to reflect on the comfort and guidance you provided. In that space, they begin to miss you, not because you were overbearing, but because your presence brought them peace and clarity. Consider this. Have you ever leaned on someone during a difficult time and then found yourself reflecting on how much their support meant after they were gone? That's the impact of balanced support. It's not about being present 24/7. It's about being there when it truly matters, and then stepping back to allow the other person to grow. This principle applies to all relationships, not just romantic ones. In friendships, it's about offering a listening ear without trying to solve every problem. In family relationships, it's about being a steady source of encouragement without micromanaging. And in professional settings, it's about guiding others without overstepping their autonomy. How can you master this balance? Start by asking yourself, what does this person truly need right now? Sometimes the answer is your presence. Other times it's your silence, your trust, or your absence. By tuning into their needs rather than reacting impulsively, you can offer the kind of support that leaves a lasting impact. It's also important to recognize when to let go. There will be moments when you've done all you can, and the next step is theirs to take. Trust that your support has made a difference, even if you don't see immediate results. This act of stepping back is not a sign of indifference, it's an expression of faith in their strength. When you offer support with balance, your presence becomes a source of comfort and stability. And when you step away, people feel the absence of that comfort. They begin to appreciate the rare quality you bring into their lives, the ability to uplift them without overshadowing their own journey. Reflect on your recent interactions. Are you giving too much, or are you striking the right balance? By learning to offer support thoughtfully and then stepping back, you create a dynamic where your presence is valued and your absence deeply felt. As we continue, consider how this principle ties into the next habit, leaving every interaction on a high note. How can ending moments with positivity and grace deepen your impact and make people crave your presence? Let's explore. 8. Always leave on a high note. Have you ever noticed how the end of an interaction lingers in your memory? Whether it's a conversation, a meeting, or a simple goodbye, the way things conclude often shapes how we feel about the entire experience. That's why leaving on a high note is one of the most powerful ways to make someone miss you. It's not just about what you say, it's about the lasting impression you leave behind. Think about your last meaningful interaction. Did it end with warmth, a thoughtful word, or a genuine smile? Or did it feel rushed, awkward, or incomplete? When you end moments on a high note, you ensure that others associate you with positivity and joy. This creates a kind of emotional resonance, making your presence feel uplifting and your absence keenly felt. The Stoics understood the importance of intentionality in every action. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." In the context of relationships, this means being mindful of how your actions, words, and energy impact others. When you leave someone with a good feeling, it elevates their perception of you and strengthens the bond you share. But what does leaving on a high note actually look like in practice? It could be as simple as offering a heartfelt compliment before parting ways, sharing a laugh, or expressing gratitude for the time spent together. These small gestures may seem insignificant, but they leave a lasting emotional imprint. People are drawn to those who make them feel good, and when you're not around, they'll miss that energy. Imagine this scenario. You've just had a conversation with someone, and as it wraps up, you say, "I always enjoy talking to you. It's refreshing to share ideas with someone who truly listens." That single sentence stays with them. It's not just the words themselves, but the positive feeling they evoke. Now, when they think of you, that feeling comes to mind. And when you're absent, they'll find themselves longing for more interactions like that. This principle isn't about flattery or manipulation, it's about genuine connection. It's about recognizing the value of the time you share with others and making that time meaningful. When you approach relationships with this level of care, you naturally stand out. You become someone whose presence isn't just noticed, it's cherished. Even in challenging moments, leaving on a high note can shift the tone of the relationship. Suppose you've just resolved a disagreement. Instead of letting the conversation end on a tense or neutral note, take a moment to express something positive. "I appreciate that we can talk through things openly. It's one of the reasons I value our connection." This not only diffuses lingering tension, but also reinforces the bond, making your presence feel grounding and supportive. Stoicism reminds us to focus on what we can control. You can't dictate how others feel about you, but you can control the energy and effort you bring to each interaction. By leaving on a high note, you take ownership of the impression you leave behind. It's a habit of mindfulness, one that ensures your interactions are impactful and memorable. As you practice this habit, you'll notice that people begin to associate you with positivity, thoughtfulness, and warmth. And when you're not there, they'll miss that feeling. They'll replay the moments in their minds, longing for the kind of connection you offer, a connection that leaves them feeling uplifted and valued. Now, let's reflect together. What's one interaction you've had recently that could have ended on a higher note? How might you approach future conversations with the intention of leaving a positive impression? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your experiences and insights. If this idea resonates with you, take a moment to like this video and join our growing community of thoughtful individuals exploring the principles of Stoicism and personal growth. Your support not only helps spread these ideas, but also inspires others to cultivate meaningful connections in their own lives. But don't forget to subscribe for more insights that will help you elevate your relationships and leave a lasting impact. Next, we'll explore the importance of consistency, how staying true to your values makes you reliable, trustworthy, and ultimately unforgettable. Stay tuned. 9. Stay consistent with your values. How often do you find yourself adjusting your behavior to fit in, to please someone, or to avoid conflict? While flexibility can be a strength, inconsistency in your values and actions can make you seem unreliable. And unreliability breeds distrust. On the other hand, when you live in alignment with your principles, you build a solid foundation in your relationships, one that leaves a lasting impression and makes people truly miss you when you're not there. Consistency doesn't mean being predictable in every aspect of your life. It means standing firm in your beliefs and actions, guided by your inner compass. Stoicism teaches us the importance of living in harmony with our values. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." By staying true to yourself, you become someone people can count on, someone they admire and respect. Think about the people you rely on most. Chances are they're individuals whose words and actions align, who don't shift with the wind or compromise their integrity for convenience. That consistency makes them dependable, and it creates a sense of security. When you embody this trait, you leave a mark that's hard to erase. But staying consistent with your values doesn't mean being rigid or inflexible. It means being clear about what you stand for while also being open to growth and new perspectives. This balance keeps relationships dynamic while reinforcing trust. People begin to see you as a grounding force in their lives, someone who provides stability in an ever-changing world. For instance, if honesty is a core value for you, ensure that it's reflected in your interactions. Speak with sincerity even when it's uncomfortable. If kindness is central to who you are, let it guide your decisions, regardless of how others behave. Over time, these consistent actions shape how people perceive you. They begin to associate you with reliability and integrity, and when you're not around, they miss the steadiness you bring. Consistency also strengthens your sense of self. When your actions align with your values, you feel more confident and at peace with yourself. This inner harmony radiates outward, making you more magnetic to others. People are drawn to those who are sure of themselves, and they crave the presence of someone whose principles don't waver under pressure. Take a moment to reflect. Are your actions aligned with your values? Are there areas where inconsistency might be undermining the trust others place in you? By identifying these gaps and committing to greater alignment, you not only deepen your relationships but also ensure that your absence is deeply felt. 10. Invest in personal growth. What makes someone unforgettable? Is it their physical appearance, their wit, or their charm? While these qualities may capture attention momentarily, they rarely leave a lasting impact. What truly makes someone stand out is their commitment to growth, their constant evolution into a better version of themselves. When you invest in personal growth, you not only enrich your own life but also inspire those around you, making your absence impossible to ignore. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of self-improvement. As Seneca wisely noted, while we wait for life, life passes. This serves as a reminder that growth is not something to postpone, it's a daily practice. When you commit to learning, evolving, and striving for excellence, you become someone others admire and aspire to be around. Personal growth isn't just about grand achievements, it's about small, consistent steps toward betterment. It could be as simple as reading a book that broadens your perspective, learning a new skill, or improving your physical health. The key is intentionality, living each day with the purpose of becoming a little better than you were yesterday. When you invest in yourself, it changes the energy you bring to your relationships. You become more confident, more engaged, and more dynamic. People notice this vibrancy and begin to associate you with inspiration and progress. And when you're not there, they feel the void left by your absence. They miss the motivation and positivity you bring into their lives. Moreover, personal growth signals independence. It shows that you're not stagnant, waiting for someone else to define your worth or direction. Instead, you're actively shaping your own path. This self-sufficiency is deeply attractive because it reflects strength and resilience, qualities that draw others to you and make your presence memorable. Investing in personal growth also sets a powerful example. When others see you striving to improve, it encourages them to do the same. They begin to view you as a source of inspiration, someone who challenges them to rise to their own potential. This dynamic creates a deeper connection, as they come to value not just who you are, but the growth journey you represent. But what does this look like in practice? It could mean prioritizing your health through exercise and mindful eating. It might involve cultivating emotional resilience through meditation or journaling. Or it could be about pursuing intellectual growth by exploring topics that challenge and excite you. Whatever form it takes, the goal is the same: to evolve continuously. Take a moment to ask yourself, what areas of my life could benefit from growth? Where am I holding back? By committing to these areas, you not only enrich your own experience, but also leave an indelible mark on those around you. When you live a life of growth, your absence is felt not just because of who you are, but because of who you're becoming. People long to be part of your journey, to witness your transformation, and to share in the energy that comes from constant self-improvement. And that, perhaps more than anything, makes you unforgettable. As we've explored these Stoic habits, each one builds on the last to create a version of you that is strong, purposeful, and magnetic. From mastering emotional control to investing in personal growth, these principles are not just strategies, they're a way of life. When you embody them, you don't just make others miss you, you inspire them to reflect, grow, and seek deeper connections.